Now, I did skip Unit 3. There it is right there. I mean, I hadn't skipped it, but that's the one that y'all want y'all to start working on kind of on your own. I'll cover some hot spots, but my ultimate is to get to this one as soon as I can. But here's where we are right here. Unit 2, graphing, that's 6.7. Go ahead and get to the section of the book that I'm going to talk about. Probably you're going to use these handouts probably Wednesday, but let's see, are we on the right book? Yeah. What chapter is this? 6, 7? Now, it's very important that you write down what I talk about today because there's two parts. There's the general information about graphing, and then there's how to graph. Okay? What you got there is how to graph. I'm going to give you the general information. But the general information, there's a lot of things that you need to memorize, highlight, mark, star, whatever you want to put, that if you don't know it, you're not going to be able to do the second part. So, first thing I want to do is talk about this, the Cartesian coordinate system. And that's what this is right here. So I'm on page, for those of you that have books, I'm on page, get this thing out of the way.
337.
Thank you. 336. Yeah, somewhere in there.
Okay.
So draw, right now you need to take part of your notes and draw, maybe in the top left-hand corner of your notes, draw a Cartesian coordinate system. Cartesian is spelled Cart and then Esian, E-S-I-A-N. Cartesian coordinate system. It's the two-dimensional graph system. There's, in our world that we live in, there's two graphing systems. There's a two-dimensional graph, which is this, and then there's a what? Three-dimensional graph, which a lot of your pilots use. Anything having to do with flying, you use a three-dimensional graph, where if you're on the ground, what do you use? A two-dimensional graph, because you can't what? You can't fly. All right? If you're calling in artillery, you use a two-dimensional coordinate system. If you're doing directions, you do a two-dimensional coordinate system, because you can't fly. The middle of the coordinate system is called the what? The origin. The coordinates for the origin is 0, 0. 0 directions in the horizontal, 0 direction in the vertical. It's called the origin. So, when you take off from the origin to the right and up, you're going in the positive direction. So therefore, everything in the first quadrant is positive. So you need to take your handy-dandy marker and write positive, positive. Everything in the first quadrant, the X and the Y is positive. Now where did I come up with X and Y? Well, the X bar is called the horizontal. That's in the X direction. The Y bar is the vertical. It's in the Y direction. So every coordinate is based on an X and Y coordinate system. What comes first in the alphabet? X. Well, A comes first. Yeah, that's right. But as far as X and Y, what comes first?
The X.
And which way do you read? So which comes first? So therefore, there's nobody in here that's going to put Y first. Do I have students that do that? Yes. I have no idea why. Unless they're from the Middle East, Masalama. Okay? I have no idea why they put Y first. Because one, X comes first in the alphabet, and two, we read from left to right. So if you put Y first, then that means you're from the Middle East origin. Okay? Second, what is X in the second quadrant? Well, X is negative, and Y is positive. So in the second quadrant, all your points are going to be negative, positive. In the third quadrant, what's everything going to be? Always draw a little smiley face down there because it looks like a little monkey. Negative, negative. And then what is the fourth quadrant?
Positive, negative.
Positive, negative. Now, anytime you want to plot a point, which comes first? X or Y?
X.
So you go along the x-axis first. If it's positive 4, you go 1, 2, 3, 4. Positive 1, there's your point. 4, 1. If you want a negative, negative 3, positive 2. Negative 4, negative 4. Positive 5, negative 3. It's as simple as that. It's not hard. Now, what makes a straight line? 2 points, right? 2 points make up a straight line. So, if I add 2 points, or if I take my handy-dandy line maker and I color it green, I just made a line connecting 2 points. Or I can go take my same line maker, color it blue, and I can take these 2 points and add them together and connect them, and I made a line. These are called linear functions. Linear. Linear because it's a straight what? Line. All of 6.7 is linear. We do not go into nonlinear. We do that in college algebra. Okay? 101 and 102. 102 mostly. 102 and call it Math 110. So all of these problems that we do are going to be linear. Meaning a straight line. Now, you can draw a line by connecting 2 points together, or you can do it several other ways. And I'm just doing this. You don't have to draw them, but I'm just doing it to show you that you can draw a line. I know. You can draw a line however you want to. Well, you get the point. Just as long as you got 2 what? 2 points. 2 points make up a line. Now, each one of these lines have a slope. Now, let's talk about slope, because that's where y'all get a little crazy. In other words, y'all just say, okay, that's easy, so I need to make something difficult, so I'm going to make slope difficult. That's what y'all say. Or the teacher does, one of the two. So, everybody knows what a hill looks like. There's a hill. Now, a hill has 2 sides. Well, really, it has infinite sides, Hubert. Shut up. Okay? It has 2 sides. You look at a hill, what side are you looking up? Well, you trot along here. Here we go. Do, 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 do. And you stop at this hill. What are you going to say?
That's a long way up.
So, that's uphill. And that's called a positive what? Slope. When you get to the top of the hill, you're looking what? Downhill. And downhill is called negative slope. It's as simple as that, people. Now, there's several ways to find the slope of a line. Okay? One way is to just find it. What do I mean, find it, Hubert? Well, solve for y and find it. Get y by itself, and when you get y by itself, you know what m is. How? Well, there is a form of a line called y equals mx plus 0, or y is equal to mx plus b. The reason you put y is equal to mx plus 0 is sometimes there's nothing there, and what you have to put to make a heads or tails out of it? A 0. So there's your two lines, except this one is 0 because there's nothing there. Alright? And this guy right here, take a handy dandy highlighter, that guy named M, that's your slope. So if you have y by itself, if you solve a variable, an equation for y, and you get y all by itself, then whatever's in front of that x is your what? Slope. Now that's if you find it, and we'll get into that later. That's how you find it. Find it by solving, and then what do you do to get it? How do you get that number? You just what? You just look at it. There's no calculating. There's nothing. You just solve for y, and whatever that number is right here, that's your slope. Right there. And example, I'll give you a quick example. 2x plus 3y is equal to 6. Now, what did I say do if you want to find your slope? Get y, what? By itself. So, subtract the 2x. 3y is equal to negative 2x plus 6. Divide by what?
3.
And y is equal to negative 2/3 x plus 2. Take your highlighter. So what's our slope? And that's how you find your slope. Simple as that. Get y by itself, and boom, you just look at it. There is no calculations at all. The second way is to calculate the slope. Now, when do you calculate the slope? Well, there's 2 or 3 problems that you can calculate the slope, and all of them are about the same. One, or bullet, or A, given 2 points. Now, these 2 points can be on a graph, or they can be just written out. So, I'm going to just draw a little thing right here, a little grid, and I'm going to take a green marker, and I'm going to draw a dot there, and you can draw them anywhere you want to, and a dot there, and then a line that goes through them. There's given 2 points. There's 2 points, 2 green points. So that's a way that could be given to you. Another way that can be given to you is a line like this, and they don't give you any points. You have to what?
Figure it out.
You have to find the 2 points. And that's when you have to have it on graph paper, or the graph paper has to be behind it on the screen for you to actually find those 2 points. So I don't deal with those too much unless it's on the homework or the test, because I don't want to sit here and ask y'all to bring graph paper, because half of y'all won't be able to find it, and half of you won't be able to pay for it, and 12 dead grandmothers and 5 flat tires. So I don't do that. I don't ask you to bring graph paper because of that. All right? So, but I do give them to you on here, and realize that this one, you have to have a grid behind it to see the points. And then the one that's most common, 2, 3, 4, 5. What do? They just give you 2 points. Now, if you see any of these on a homework or a test, and they say calculate the what? slope, you're going to use the slope formula. M is equal to y sub 2 minus y sub 1 over x sub 2 minus x sub 1. Now it looks intimidating, and you need to highlight this just like you highlighted these. This is very important. That's your first equation, or first formula that's very important in this section. You'll have 10,000 of those on homework and on the test. So you better learn how to use it. So let's take this guy right here. 2, 3, 4, and 5, and I'll go to the next page, and we'll do it. 2, 3, 4, and 5. And M is equal to y sub 2 minus y sub 1 over x sub 2 minus x sub 1. Now, if I haven't explained to you about subscripts, I'm going to do that now. Let's say that you own a company. Let's say an electrical company. It does electronics and electrical setups of buildings like, I can't think of anybody in Anderson. There's 2 or 3 in Anderson, but I can't think of anybody right now. But anyway, you go in these buildings and you set up the electrical. But you need to get some trucks. And you want your trucks to be all what?
White.
The same. Yeah, white, generic, so you can put whatever on the side. So you call up Ford Place over here, Brooklyn Boulevard, and you order 2 trucks. Anything different, or are they the same?
Same.
Then how are you going to tell the difference between the 2? If they're both the same color, same engine, same seats, same... Huh?
Put a number on them.
There already is a number. What's the number called? The VIN number. So those two trucks came off of Ford Place in Detroit or Mexico, wherever it is. They came off the line right behind each other, didn't they? And this one has a VIN number of 1, and this one has a VIN number of 2. Well, that's what subscripts are. Subscripts has no mathematical value whatsoever. Subscripts means the first one and the second one. That's all it means. Well, Hubert, how do we tell which way do you read? Oh my gosh, such a hard concept. What is this? X sub 1, that's what you call it. That's how you pronounce it. Don't pronounce it X1 because that technically is 1X. You say X sub 1, X sub 2, X sub 3, X sub 4. So this is X sub 1. What is this? Y sub 1. See, you're already making it difficult. I'm just kidding. X sub what?
2.
And what have I always told you to do when you substitute things in? What do you use? Well, before you plug and chug, what do you use? Parentheses, Hubert. Why? Because are all these going to be positive and nice whole numbers? No. I'm going to give you fractions and negatives on the test. All right, so somebody tell me what goes here.
X sub 5.
No, y'all already making it difficult.
Oh, 5.
5,
3,
3, 4, and 2. Do y'all see what y'all just did? Y'all took something that I put on this board and y'all twisted it around to make it difficult. Two or three of you did. I'm not going to pick on you. All right. Miss Smith did. Now she knew what to put in there, but what did she do? She threw out an X, but she knew it was supposed to be Y. You see how easy it is to mess this part up? It's not that difficult. All you got to do is do this.
Wait a minute. Okay. 1 minute. I'm looking. F1, 2 is 5. Okay.
Now, let me ask you, and remember this. Well, let me ask you a question. What if you decide not to remember this? Then you're SOL. Because then you got to go look it up. And by the time you've done looked it up, the rest of the class is on to the next problem. Okay? So if you want the lazy route, don't get mad when everybody else is finished with the test online and you're still sitting there on the computer and everybody else is walking out. All you got to do is read from left to right, plug and chug, use parentheses, and what's 5 minus 3?
2.
And what's 4 over 2? 4 minus 2.
2.
And what's 2 over 2?
1.
So the slope of this line, and let's draw this. 2, 3. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. And 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. 3, 4, 5. The slope of this line is equal to what?
1.
1. So that means it's at a 45-degree angle. 1, 1 is a 45-degree angle. Now we're going to do at least 4 or 5 of these today so I can grill it in your head not to break an anvil with a banana. Although some of you will still try to break an anvil with a banana. So I'm going to give y'all 1 more minute to let it soak in, and then we're going to put some other numbers up there. Because let me tell you, there's some people can tell you how to do this, and you won't know how to get out of a wet paper sack when you're done. But that's it. That's all you do.
What coordinates did you graph over?
The actual one.
These two right here.
I had to think the same
2, 3. This is 2, comma, 3. They're kind of not left-handed. And 4, comma, 5. Right there. It would help if the projector would write it a little bit better, but everything I do turns into a tail on this thing. All right, so let's put some more up there. And I'll put the formula up here. All right, take off. Now, most of the time, if a student follows the way I told them to do it, they will get this correct. Unless they start thinking. First thing I tell you to do is read from left to right. So this is x sub 1. This is y sub 1. This is x sub 2. This is y sub 2. And then I tell y'all to draw the formula in terms of what? Parentheses. Well, Hubert, where do you start thinking? Where do we start thinking? Well, I'll tell you. And you ain't started thinking yet. You plug in, just like I told you to, -7, -3, -6, and -2. And now is when you start thinking. you forget everything I told you, and you start thinking about your rules that your K through 12 teacher gave you, which really did work out real good. Or you do what I tell you. Now, what did I tell you about two negatives being together? That makes a what? Okay, now let's talk about owing and having. You owe $7, you have 3. You owe 4. You owe 6, you have 2. So the slope is. Now tell me that wasn't easy if you didn't start thinking up stuff that you did back in whatever. It's 3 easy steps. You label, you memorize, you put in the parentheses, and you plug and chug. Simple as that. Let's do an order. And I'll even give you the formula again. It has rained so much that I have to go home today, and my big male pig, my boar, I have to put him on a trailer because he's sitting in about a foot of mud. I got to put him on a trailer because I don't want him to get pneumonia. And you know how cold it is in water, animals get pneumonia. So I've got to put my boar on a trailer to keep him from getting wet, or from drowning, basically.
How big is he? Like, how much does he weigh?
About 400 pounds.
Nice.
I just put a feed bucket on the trailer and he walks up. Well, he walks up on there.
I would too. I mean, you can't.
Well, you weigh 400 pounds. You do what you want as slow as you want it to, too.
Right?
I'm about ready for this rain to get out of here. I got stuff that I got to be doing, and I love the weather, and I love when it rains because I can sit in the house and do nothing and watch movies. But after about 2 weeks, I'm getting behind on a lot of stuff.
Well, if we have as much snow as we have rain, we're going to be in trouble.
I don't even want to talk about that. You know why farmers hate snow? 1, they can't do anything. 2, it's rough on the animals. 3, try feeding cows in the snow one time.
Yeah.
Let's see how much you like it. It's so beautiful. You'd be cussing it by the time you get through feeding cows. So I can stand, oh, the snow is so beautiful. Shut up.
What do you really do with the hogs? Do you just end up slaughtering them, or
No, I just sell them. I don't fool with
breed them
slaughtering.
and sell them?
Fool with slaughtering, you got to fool with the federal government, you got to fool with DHEC and all that, and it ain't worth it. It's about like everything else. It ain't worth it.
Did you ever hear from Dr. Walker about your cows?
No, I didn't. I meant to try to send you those, and I clicked on it, and when I clicked on this number, somebody got a hold of me from something else, and I forgot to send it. I'm gonna send it. I'm gonna send it to him.
He said he was going to rub it in on it.
No, I never did get. He asked me about selling some hay. He wanted to buy some hay, or somebody wanted to buy some hay, and I told him I couldn't. I said, this rain's knocked me out of about 40 acres, and I can't bale it now because frost has done hit, and so I can't. So it's knocked me out of about 150 bales of hay.
you don't know what's ahead either.
So I don't know what's ahead. I told him I couldn't sell any hay right now. Because now if I bailed at 150 bales, I would have been glad to sell 75, 80 bales. Not now. Because you usually don't see weather like this time of year.
Yeah, it's kind of, I mean, I've only been here a year, but last year around this time it wasn't like this yet.
Now that hurricane had a lot to do with it. The hurricane in Texas had a lot to do with it. But usually we don't get much. We get a little bit of ice. We get more ice than we get snow. Oh, and when we get snow, one snowflake causes havoc around here. Channel 4 News will say it's a blizzard. And they'll send everybody out in a panic. And everybody will go out and you wait. You go to buy loaves, there won't be any bread on the shelf.
No milk.
And no milk. You got to buy milk and bread.
I don't understand that.
Yeah, soggy biscuits. I mean, soggy
Yeah,
bread. Soggy
milk,
sandwiches.
milk and bread cereal.
John said, John Channel 4 said yesterday or day before,
I'm
that
lost.
from the 15th of November to the 15th of December is our best. Snow and ice and stuff.
That's what I know.
Yeah, you can sit outside, that's true. It don't make no sense to get some milk. Get you some canned goods.
Get me a dadgum stack of pizzas and a big old carton of refreshments.
Yeah, a big one. Yeah, right.
Refreshments.
That's how I'm staying in yours.
So, but no, Channel 4, and then when one snowflake falls, people will be calling up here. Is class canceled? Is class canceled? One snowflake. It takes one snowflake. But when we have a blizzard,
They won't call.
all the districts will be open, and Tri-County will be open. Beats anything I've ever seen. You're talking about people that can't handle snow. That is South Carolina. Now we know how to handle ice, but
Yeah,
when
we
we get
professionals.
snow, it's just like our brains explode.
We're professionals with ice.
Yeah, we know how to deal with ice.
We can even drive on that stuff.
Yeah, but you give us a snowflake and we run off the road.
Yeah.
And
That's no lie.
the news just goes, okay, we can really get everybody panicked. Let's do it.
I told the grocery store man one time, I says, I think y'all got a conspiracy with the
It's the news.
guys.
Yep. And Channel 4 is the
Just so y'all
worst.
can make some money.
Channel 4 gets everybody in a panic. I'll never forget when when the World Trade Centers blew up. That was bad. But right after that, remember the anthrax scare?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Channel 4, I don't care what happens in the world, Channel 4 will say it's in Greenville. You could have the Eiffel Tower would fall in France,
Landing Greenville.
and it would land on somebody that was from Greenville, or somebody's brother or sister that was from Greenville. So, what I was trying to tell you is,
Find a connection somewhere.
we had the anthrax